We are live now.
Okay,
So, good evening, everybody. We have with us Anand. Anand is co-founder and CTO of organization by name Tericsoft, and Gatik is happy to associate with him as expert in artificial intelligence since couple of years. So, the artificial intelligence module at both the campuses of Gatik is taken care by Anand and his team. Anand, welcome back again.
thank you, Avinash sir. So I hope my voice is clear.
Yes, yes, yes. It is clear. It is clear.
Okay, cool. So yeah, so in this webinar, primarily let us go through the list of opportunities that youngsters can explore in artificial intelligence. And so basically the way we can have this discussion is we'll begin with broadly what artificial intelligence means and what does the term artificial intelligence exactly mean, and then what are the different uh, creative things which can be done with artificial intelligence today which are not possible a couple of years ago, and where will this trend go forward. Especially in recent times, all of us must have heard about chat gpt and the kind of revolution it's causing in a lot of industries. So now, where will this trend go in future? Just some thoughts from my side, because I'm kind of coming from that industry and that background. And in this whole mix, how can uh, a person who wants to get into technology, how can he take the benefit out of it at a young age, rather than realizing something after engineering or after doing their masters? How can something be done at a very young age, especially at intermediate level? And what are some of the myths that are there in our artificial intelligence? Will break some of those as well. And yeah, so and then if there are any questions in the journey, feel free to please post them on the chat box, and we can take a pause and then we can discuss on those as well. Okay, so I'm just sharing my screen. Okay, I'm just trying to. So I hope my screen is visible. Avinash sir, is my screen visible? Hello, Avinash sir, are you there?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
It
Oh,
was. It
cool.
was.
Okay, cool. Yeah, fine. So yeah, so let's start with a very simple question of what exactly artificial intelligence is. So a one-liner, if we were to put it in a simple terms, it's like artificially trying to mimic intelligence, which means the most intelligent thing that we humans know is the human itself, right? Because we create other things. So to make it simple, if we can make a computer act like the most intelligent thing that we can think of, which is the human itself, then we can say that artificially we have created intelligence. So now the question is, why do we want to make a computer to think like a human? Let the computer be like a computer. We keep telling them what to do. Then why do we need to make it uh, think and act like a human? So the answer is simple. uh, Once we are able to equip the computer to think and act on its own, then it can come back and help a whole bunch of things that can be done. Like for example, if an engineer is trying to build a house, right now AI can come and help him and say that, hey, instead of building this house in, let's say, $2 million, you can optimize the cost and then just build it in, let's say, $500,000. Similarly, a doctor, instead of performing a surgery and then the success ratio is, let's say, 70%, assisted with artificial intelligence, it can be, let's say, 90%. So in short, the uh, ability to make the computer think and act on its own like a human can actually help human in not one way, two way, but 10,000 ways. And in fact, there are use cases where it can help a designer, like if with especially with the recent tools, if anybody wants to create a small uh, painting, then you need not be like a very master at painting, like practicing for the last 20 years. You just have to convey the thoughts of what exactly you want in that painting, and most likely that output is going to be exactly what you expect. So all of these things, which actually takes like a tremendous amount of time and a tremendous amount of skill to kind of master a certain thing, because now AI has come into the picture. Now we need not become the master. The AI is the master, and it can fast forward our journey by, like, let's say, 100x or 1000x. So in a crux, we need artificial intelligence because the things which we cannot do alone, we can bring AI as another imaginary, buddy to us, or like a friend to us, who can kind of help us, fast forward whatever piece of work that we are doing. And very surprisingly, AI has been found to be affecting almost many work streams. Once upon a time, people thought that artificial intelligence might help in some construction business and XYZ, but it may not really help that much on healthcare related side, because healthcare needs more, nitty gritties, more nuances and all. But it turned out to be wrong. Even today, doctors in some shape are using artificial intelligence, and we'll discuss about those use cases as well. And similarly, some people thought AI can be very good in some engineering related works, mathematics and all, but it cannot do creative works like, creating music, creating poetry, creating painting. But again, that was wrong, because the recent trends have shown AI can even master that. It can compose a better music than the best music person. So in short, it is able to help us realize a lot of things in a much faster way. Now the question comes to how this whole, artificial intelligence is built. So when we usually say artificial intelligence, it's not like one simple software, or it's not like a one simple tool which comes into the picture and magically everything gets better. So when we say artificial intelligence, it's more like a subject. For example, physics is like a subject. Now within physics, we have got like something related to, thermodynamics, something related to light, something related to electromagnetic waves, XYZ. Similarly, within artificial intelligence, we have got different techniques, different methods, different, styles. So but all of them are trying to achieve one single thing, which is to make a machine become more smarter, and in the process become one step, closer to becoming like a human brain. So that broad gambit of things, we call it as artificial intelligence. So in the broad this world of artificial intelligence, the two main things which are really like a fuel to make that magic happen. The first is the data, and the second, like I would say, first, data itself is like 80% of the component. The remaining 20-30% of the component probably is the computational power, or the processing power. So let me put it this way, like imagine if I want to build something very intelligent system today. What I need is, I need to know very clearly what my problem statement is. I want to achieve this, and then I need the data relevant to that problem statement. Now once I have the data, then I am going to use some series of algorithms to pass that data to this so-called artificial intelligence, training algorithms, or just assume that there are some softwares out there. Now once I give the data to that software, that data will automatically get crunched by the algorithm, and all the patterns are kind of recognized, and then a new blueprint will come as an output. Now that blueprint is like a magical pill for solving that problem. So we call that as a model. So in short, if I want, let's say if I'm a doctor and I want to, um, let's say I want to kind of uh, okay, so let's assume there is a certain type of bacteria, and if I were to test whether the bacteria exists in the blood, typically I'll have to take a small blood sample and put it under like a probably like a very powerful telescope, and then I have to add some dye, and then after doing a whole bunch of activities, then I'll get to know whether the bacteria exists in the blood sample or not. Now if I were to make the computer automatically detect that, then what I'll do is I'm going to take like the same blood sample, and I'm going to identify those what do you call the bacteria cells, and then I am going to gather lots of samples in which the bacteria cells exist in the blood. And uh, when I have so many samples of how the bacteria would look in a blood sample, then I'm going to collectively give this whole series of images and then pass it on to the algorithm, and then tell the algorithm that hey, this is how the bacteria looks like. So whenever you find any such pattern in the blood sample, then you should consider that there is a bacteria in this blood. So now I am indirectly collecting the data, giving it to the training algorithm, and the training algorithm is looking at all of those patterns. And once I have all finally I'm getting like a final model, the magical pill. So from next time onwards, whenever I pass on the images of that blood sample, it is going to look for those instances of the bacterial cells, and if it is there, automatically it will trigger that okay, this blood sample might possibly contain malaria. Now this whole process of identifying whether the given blood sample contains malaria or not might actually take like a good amount of equipment, good amount of time, and all of that. But using AI, and also it needs a lot of expertise, because after looking at the report, only a very senior lab technician might be able to do that. But with AI coming into the picture, once the model is ready, anybody who can give the image as an input to that model will automatically give the output whether that blood sample has got malaria or not. So in short, the whole idea is, in this whole equation, the main input that which was responsible for making that artificial intelligence algorithm was the data in itself. So now what has happened is, we knew from a very very long time that if we can have significant amount of data, and if we can have significant amount of computational power, we can make like crazy wonders and all of that. But the bigger problem was, we didn't have that much of data. Even if we had the data, let's say I have got 2 terabytes of images, or 2 terabytes of some text, digital text sitting in some place, I didn't have that much of a processing power. But we were very lucky to be in that right time of 21st century, that wherein we have that culmination of both. So we are having so much of data, plus the computing power is become dirt cheap. Like, now imagine the days where we were like buying i3 laptops for like probably 50-60,000. Today we are talking about i9s and i11s and probably like 70-80-90,000. So now each and with each passing day, the computation cost is getting lower and lower. Now because of that, I can afford to put more CPUs, more memories, and all that. Now because of that, I can build bigger algorithms and all that, and that's how we are now today able to build something like ChatGPT. So technically, when we look at ChatGPT, that algorithm might have taken like few millions of computers sitting together, running for like probably few weeks, and then finally that one magical pill called ChatGPT has been evolved. The same example that we saw for that the malaria blood sample example, more or less a similar kind of a setup must have undergone in the building of ChatGPT. So they must have, instead of image as an input, instead of the blood sample image as an input, they must have taken like some text as an input. But one thing is for sure, for AI to come out, we need to give anything as an input. So now, in short, the nuances, once it is understood, they are kind of similar in all the cases. Now coming to the most important bit, all of this is fine. Like AI is really going, AI is really doing something really great and all of that. But what will it enable us if we learn AI, right? So this question can be understood from two prisms. The first one, if we are looking at a full-time career in AI, then that's a different equation, that's a different route. Or if we are looking at AI more from understanding it, but probably we might end up doing something else. But I just want to be aware कि AI में चल रहा क्या है. I just want to know the uses of it, the limitations of it. If this discussion is for these two, let's understand these two routes. But if we are having the thought process that hey, AI is not really something that I care about, I can safely skip that path, I feel that probably that doesn't exist. The reason being, today you cannot escape AI. Matlab, it has evolved so much that probably everything that you do, whether you accept it or not, very soon AI is going to be part of it. Whether you realize it or you don't realize it, AI is going to be in some shape. It is being already, it is used in the day-to-day life, and with time, with the trend the way it is going, it is only going to become bigger. So now, so it's always good to at least be aware of what is happening and what are the challenges and what are the risks associated with it, so that we can, make best use of it for our respective careers. So now coming on to, if we want to use AI more as a, uh, if we want to know about AI more from its use cases and the limitations, it's for example something like this. Let's assume that you want to start like let's say your kids want to start like a business in the future, or they want to kind of get into like a software industry, probably do masters and then go abroad. Then in both the cases, I would say that AI will still be going to be like a very integral part of both of these. For example, in the case of masters, probably most likely if it is related to computer science or something, then the let me tell you, the industry of computer science is going to be very drastically, it is going to get affected because of the new trends of chat gpt. For example, I myself have been like a developer for the last, software engineer for the last 10 to 12 years, and I would say that if I am building any application, earlier if it was taking like let's say 15 to 20 days for me to make any application, whether it is friend mobile application or web application, probably today I might do the same thing in probably like 2 days or maybe like 1 day. Which means that with the new evolution, if I know exactly how to use the right AI tool, I might cut down my time very drastically. Why? And again, I was able to get it down in 2 days because I was able to make use of AI uh, in the right shape. But if I was not using AI in the right shape, probably there are companies out there and people out there who are still doing it in 15, 20 days. It's only time that they will be left out of the race. So that is why I feel that, and we were lucky that in our company we have always given precedence to AI. And even though we were a software engineering company at core, we had a very dedicated AI team, and we were always emphasizing on that. And it really did pay off, and it's going to continue. The trend is going to continue in the future. So we could see like a drastic improvement in our team's performance as well, in the way they were able to cut down their time and all of that. So that's, so I would feel that this is from the software engineer's journey perspective. Now coming on to, let's say we are not, like your kid is not planning to get into computers and he wants to do something else, like non-technical, like something related to business or something related to construction, or not sure anything out there. Still, I would say a lot of software is being involved in whatever they do. It can be as simple as an Excel sheet, or it can be like a planning the finances, or like doing some sort of a optimization of resources for any piece of work that they are doing. Then in that case as well, knowing the limitations of what can be done with AI, what cannot be done with AI, I think that would really give an extra edge for any role, I would say. Now let's assume that if somebody wants to get into not like superficial understanding of AI, but with they want to take up AI as a full-time job role, then there are roles like machine learning engineer and NLP engineer, natural language processing engineer, and there's something called computer vision, wherein we deal with like intelligence within an image. Like I said, artificial intelligence in itself is like a gambit of lot of things. So when we say NLP, bringing out the intelligence from the text is called as NLP. When we say computer vision, bringing out the intelligence from an image is called as computer vision. So which means that you look at an image and say that this is Shah Rukh Khan versus Salman Khan. Simple example. Now looking at something and then being able to distinguish what is it, that's computer vision. And looking at a text and say whether this tweet or this piece of text is positive or negative, and something like chat GPT kind of thing can be considered like a NLP kind of a use case. And there are other things like data scientist and all of that. One thing which I should bring to your notice, which has been very very uh, trendy right now, is this thing called as a prompt engineer, which means that uh, like let me give an example of what exactly a prompt means. For example, if I open, yeah, so this is chat GPT. So for example, if I am writing a simple prompt, write a Python program which takes two numbers as input and return the sum of the two numbers as output. So when I am giving this English statement to this software called ChatGPT, which is basically the best possible AI system that we can think of right now, a best possible example of what AI is. So when I'm giving this English statement as an input, it actually understood my thing and understood my intent, and it automatically wrote a Python program for me. And then if I run this program, most likely I'll get the exact expected output. Now, all of this was only possible because I gave the right prompt. Had I given a different prompt, if I want to make it more fine tuned, then probably I'll update this. Like I want to take three numbers as input, and then return the sum of three numbers as output. So the minute I update my prompt, the output will be different. So here, what is happening is this concept of giving the prompt and getting the output. This can be done with anything. Now here I am using the prompt to write a Python program. I'm using it for my I'm using it from a software development perspective. But for example, now I write another prompt and I'm gonna say, show me the list of things I should not be doing when I have fever about, let's say, 1 or 2 Celsius. Okay, I Let's see if it can detect the wrong spelling. Yeah, so in this case, what's happening is it is kind of behaving like a doctor and it is giving me the response what to do, what not to do, which means that if I ask the right prompt, most likely I might end up getting the right output here. So now what has happened is a lot of organizations are actually using this new role called prompt engineer, who are there only to define these prompts, because we have identified that depending on the way you ask the question and the way you pack all your context in that prompt, the output might vary. So now that has become a new job role, which means that there is a developer, software engineer, and there's a prompt engineer. So that's a different role, and apparently they are getting paid like massive, like few crores of package a year abroad. So that's something very new, recent update, which has been very hot in the market. So yeah, so long story short, the crux of the discussion of this thing is whether we want, if we want to get into full time AI, definitely the options are like really very colorful. It's going to go in the positive trajectory with day by day. The prominence of software industry might be like today it's like software industry is so big, AI is only one corner, but it's going to take, the bubble is going to get bigger, bigger, and someday it might take the majority of the software industry will be like AI only, because AI or the AI applications, I would say. So that's one thing. And I will just tell this one last thing, and then probably we'll take some questions and couple of other demos. So the way, is anybody trying to speak? And hear some.
You can continue, Anand.
Okay, cool. So yeah, so what is happening with everything which is coming in the AI? So once this company called OpenAI has introduced this algorithm called ChatGPT, a lot of other similar tools have come flooded the market like anything. And because of that, so many AI tools coming into the picture, what has happened is previously what was taking like few hours has now become just a 1 minute job. Previously what was taken like few weeks has now become few hours of job. So the ability to materialize any knowledge based work has cut down drastically. So I would just make it like a simple statement. If you can imagine anything, today we are able to realize that output immediately. And what I mean by that, if I can imagine how I would want my building to look like, if I am if I am an architect, and if I can imagine how I would want the interiors to be built, I need a ceiling like this, and I need so and so Italian finish, and I need a sofa sitting here, and I need a light sitting there, and I need a ceiling fan of this color with this special kind of a pattern on top of it. All that, if I can imagine it, the output will be ready, provided if I can express that effectively with the algorithm. So so the the way things are moving is like, if these two things can happen, any work can be done in like super fast way. So let me give you an example. So I have written a small, like a prompt, saying that I want to, this is by the way another piece of another application of artificial intelligence. Chat GPT is where I ask something and I get back the response as a text. So that's one aspect of artificial intelligence. Similarly, this software is where I give the text and I get image as output, not as a text output. So this is like a similar to chat GPT, but not exactly chat GPT. But in both the cases, I give input as a text. So here what I have done is I am telling to the algorithm, I need an image which represents artificial intelligence, and show me something which enables like a doctor, engineer, construction, ये तीनों को enable करते हुए artificial intelligence को represent करते हुए show me some image, and that's the output. Is it relevant or not? If it's not relevant, probably if I fine tune the prompt, it could have been probably better. Now the other example over here, I said, show me a hut in the village of India. It should have like a single window beside the door. There should be like red bricks. There should be main door capas. There should be some steps, and there should be a sunset, and there should be a wooden fencing. There should be sandy ground. There should be plants in front of the house. And look at the out. I think most it resembles exactly what I had in my mind. I was imagining something like this, and closest to it, not exactly, but something closer to that. Before this, what I did was I gave a slightly different prompt, and here I could see that there was some blurry image sitting here. And what I have done is this time I have made it my prompt slightly better. There was other negative prompt karke. So then I started getting it. Now let's assume if we are uh, trying to make like a new type of machinery, and or like for example new type of if we are into the business of making the wall clocks, uh, and we want a unique wall clock in wooden style, and it should contain it should be like have it should represent luxury. It should feel like a luxury item. And what else can be done? It should kind of have like a polished finishing, and it should resemble like let's say some it should yeah, let's assume, let's we give these keywords. Now I am expecting the image of a wall clock with these attributes, and let's see how the first round of image looks like, and then we can go a little bit deeper and see what can be done. Okay, so this is the output. This is output. So now if I go little further, I might get little more better way of more granular, more precise output. So the idea is there are plenty of these tools. Now the whole thing is each and every tool has got a limitation of what can be done, what cannot be done. Now how can we use these sort of things to make our goal, whatever we are trying to do? If we might be in the process of building a unique type of engineering item, or it can be like or let's say we are using chat gpt itself, and here we are trying to make some there are cases where we are using chat gpt to kind of build the whole itinerary for travel program. If anybody is into travel business, we can just say I want to travel from place A to place B, then what are the different places in between that I can touch by, and what would be the approximate budget XYZ, and people are making a application out of it, which means that they don't use chat gpt, they use an application of something else, but behind the scenes it's powered with chat gpt as an AI. And like they will think that the application is smart, but behind the scenes that AI which is powering that application is fundamentally the same. So being able to know these tools is going to boost a lot of our careers. So now coming back to what we will be focusing on our course is giving the exposure of all of these, like because we are coming from that thought process of doing these things day in day out. So giving that exposure of what can be possible in a realistic the real projects, some of the glimpse of what we do. And if we were to leverage these tools as is, मतलब कुछ इसमें कुछ करने का जरूरत ही नहीं है, you just have to know how to properly write the prompt. But there are cases where you might have to understand the technicalities as well. It can't be as simple as you keep writing in English and you keep getting it, then there's no point in learning it. So there are cases where we might have to understand thoda nuances of what is there and all, and then we'll go a little bit deeper into what is Python programming language, and how can you customize some of these by writing some advanced code in Python, and how can you do a little bit on building like a projection models, and how can you use these tools wherever possible to build a projection models, and where there's a limit in this tool, how can you go a little bit beyond those things as well, all of that stuff. So that's broadly, in a gentle and in a very intuitive way, those will be practically shown to the people, and kind of that that intuition is built in the kids. So yeah, so that's pretty much from my side. Do we
Yep.
have like any questions?
Yeah, I'll take you through the questions, Anand. Hey, thank you
Okay.
so much for running through the complete AI trends. It was quite
Yeah.
interesting to listen how AI is going to be part of our lives. Pretty much, it's already part of it, I believe.
Yeah.
So, one thing that really, took my attention was when you said AI is, one corner of the software industry, and slowly this bubble is going to expand
Yeah.
itself.
Yeah.
So, uh, you know, that do you want to say the courses that are today, like CSE or IT, would they be swallowed up into this bubble of AI, or what are the trends that the engineering colleges are expected to follow to be able to live up to the expectations of the industry tomorrow?
No, I think it is going to be like this. Previously, क्या होता था, when we were having a course like, let's say, Java. Okay, so we used to take like 1.5 year of training on what all these nitty-gritties in Java used to do, like what is a for loop, what is an variable, and all of that, and lot of those small concepts. Now, what
Yep.
has happened is, especially for the entry level people, they just don't have to learn a lot of these things. They should be aware of them. ऐसा नहीं कि they shouldn't learn, but they can just write a prompt at a high level and say that, hey, I want to build a Java program with these things. Can you frame that code for me? So then the first draft is kind of ready. So now, which means that my whole Java can be now crunched down to, let's say, 1.5 month of understanding. So definitely, I think engineering colleges will definitely will adapt to the new AI trends, and they will make those courses more smaller, and they will bring more of an AI element on top of that, for sure, I think.
Cool. So, how do you think students can prepare themselves for a career in AI while they are in high school, while they join intermediate, or while they are in 11th and 12th? So, how do you think they can prepare for AI? Where do they have to start?
I think the first starting point is just like curiosity, I would say. I think there should be like a very genuine curiosity into technology, and they can start with a very basic course on what is Python. That's like the first step, because most of AI is built using Python as a programming language. So once they get a little bit of understanding on what Python is, then they can start learning like a very basic things on what is machine learning and stuff like that. And all of this, what I'm saying, is like absolutely free of cost. But once that is done, then they'll have to pick a specialization, as in they want to deal with intelligence on the text side, intelligence on image side, on the video side, on the dental imagery side, or like some molecular imagery side, all of this. Then that nuances, they'll have to continue working on that direction. The
Wonderful.
first step is Python. If they can do that
Okay.
in a high school level, that should be really good.
Yep. I believe that's what you're doing at Gatik.
Yeah.
Okay. See, I understand. I hear from our students that they have been doing a couple of projects. First years have a project that they have been working on. Second years have a project that
Yeah.
they are working on. So, like
Yeah.
this, are there any other extracurricular activities or competitions that students can participate in to gain first-hand experience in AI?
You mean students within Gatik, or can you
Yep. So
rephrase that
whoever are
question?
the students, see, if not in Gatik, there might be students who are really targeting Python or targeting for artificial intelligence to be their career.
Hmm.
So in their high school and in engineering. So is there are there any competitions that they could really
Okay, so
participate
there is, yeah, so
in
there is this very famous website called Kaggle, Kaggle.
oh,
Okay, so this website basically hosts like the championships on specifically on AI related problems. So this is like a dream come true for any beginner who wants to become better at artificial intelligence. They can just open that website. There will be like the minute you open, you select your level as beginner. There will be like plenty of exercises that you can run through, and they'll be pretty intuitive. Yeah.
wonderful. So we have this question from a user. So yeah. So hi, I plan to take biology in 11th, but I also do coding. Can pursuing AI side by side help?
Biology in 11th but also love coding, yeah. So very funny actually, like this is very common nowadays. I think this trend is kind of pulling up because I am also not from coding. I am a civil engineer, but I really loved coding, and that's how I kind of ended up becoming like a full-time coder. But I think definitely biology and coding can go, I think, hand in hand, because if you think about it, uh, like coding is basically like you're telling something to a computer to perform a task. It's like how right now I'm talking in English with all of you guys. In the same way, if I have to tell a computer that you have to do this, I can't tell it in English. That's where I'm using coding to tell that, like I'm using Python code to tell that. So now AI is coming in and it is taking me even further, right? So having the knowledge of one domain, like whether it's biology or whether it is something related like a core, in this core knowledge is definitely, on top of that, having the coding knowledge to that will definitely kind of help you out. So now I think you just have to explore the right course in the in your engineering level to kind of blend both. But I would feel like definitely you can take artificial intelligence even if you are from biology.
So as
One,
an
one,
extension
simple,
to
one simplest example I can say is we were working on a very interesting project wherein looking at the like especially during COVID, like there were a lot of COVID cases that were coming in US, and the US government did not have the ability to rapid test all of those cases. Then what they have done is uh, instead of producing more and more antigen kits, one company has actually done a creative way of solving this with artificial intelligence. What they have done is they have asked a series of, let's say, 25, 30 questions. One of the question can be like, hey, are you feeling is the temperature high? When was the last time you were in contact with somebody with COVID, right? And how many days have you been feeling this fever for? By answering these questions, we figured out that by using the AI algorithm in the background, we were able to predict 80% accurately just by answering the questions whether that guy has COVID or not. So here it's a synthesis of knowing that biology, understanding that what the drug means and what that disease means, and then coupling it with AI, and that's how we were able to essentially give a first draft information of whether this guy has a COVID or not, just by asking 25 questions, no test, nothing. Yeah, so that's a very good use case with both of them. Sorry, you were asking another question.
that's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah. So in extension to the question that's asked by Unoya, are there any particular skill sets or specific subjects that students should focus on to excel in AI related fields?
Yeah, so one thing is in mathematics, there is a concept called as differentiation. So basically calculus, right? So most of the AI algorithms are kind of either it's calculus or either it's related to matrices. So if they both can be really understood well, I think a lot of that analytical capability they can directly reuse in their AI trainings and all that.
Nice, nice, nice. So, see, are there any specific educational qualifications required, or are there any specific courses that are required to excel in the field of AI, or is it like even?
So
Hmm,
so I would say this. So basically, in my opinion, I think AI has always been more about an R&D world. So I would, in my opinion, I don't think like there's a. It's not like something like a construction, civil engineering kind of thing. Jahan there are some government norms like a code book given by the Indian government कि ऐसा ही काम करना है. Similarly, in the case of doctor MBBS and all, there's some guidelines and all of that. In AI, since it's more of an R&D centered, that evolution on the hierarchy has not happened so much. So in terms of what is a specific degree uh, which needs to be pursued, or what kind of job roles are there, that they haven't yet fully materialized yet. As long as you're able to solve that problem, people are open to take you as an AI engineer. Like in our case, in our some of the companies that I have known as well, so we don't look for anybody done any degree in the artificial intelligence, because some of these degrees have not been offered by the colleges right now. So as long as they can solve, they have like a basic degree and they're able to solve these problems, we are open to kind of recruit. But I think the trend might change, because the
yeah,
prominence of AI is growing. Now I think people might want to have some degrees, and that's where like the certifications that we are giving in, and then the small initiatives that people are taking, I think this will grow in prominence in future. But now there is no structure as such, honestly.
yeah. Hey, I had a couple of students visiting the institution to collect their final memorandum of the marks. So we
Yeah,
usually ask them, hey, what's the course that you have joined? So they take
yeah,
the names of the very prominent the tier one, tier two universities that are spread across India, like Amrita, VIT, Mahendra in Hyderabad,
yeah,
right? So and they start telling, so we have taken BTech in artificial intelligence,
yeah,
right? So,
yeah,
apart from computer science engineering, which was generic upon once upon a time, so
yeah.
artificial intelligence as a separate field of study is it has already emerged, I could say.
It's already emerged, right? Yeah.
Nice. So we have one question from KK. I'm interested in game development. Will AI be added beneficial for my career?
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of games nowadays are having the AI agents built in, and in my opinion, game development is a kind of the people in the game development are always going to be a generation ahead of the rest, because if you see, the games have always been the trendsetters for the remaining industry, right? So now in that view, I think definitely, with development being so advanced, I think AI is definitely going to add a lot of value,
Yep.
especially in cutting down the development time, and also in making it very magical.
Yep. So, Anand, besides knowing you as a professional, I also know you as a very well-disciplined student, right? So, coming from coming from that prospect, see, it's been a little scary fact for the parents to trust students or their children with laptops, right? So, in this trend, do you have any advice for the student community and the parent community at large regarding ethical considerations or challenges that students should be aware of?
With AI in general, or with anything?
With in the process of learning AI with laptops in general.
Okay, very tricky question, because it's like any piece of technology is like a double-edged sword, right?
Yes.
There will be pros, there will be cons, and I think we should okay, so one easiest thing that we can think of is there are like plenty of monitoring tools that we have. Like if parents want to avoid the misuse of the laptops or the phones by their kids, like there can be some monitoring app like screen time on iPhone, which can restrict the websites and all that. I think first is obviously the kid has to be made aware of all these distractions in life has to be kind of, these are all momentary, and we are kind of going to compromise on a bigger vision if we kind of get diverted at a so young age. Definitely that should be the first thing which the kids have to be taught. And but there still will be some edge case scenarios. I think in those scenarios we'll just have to see if we can set up any blockers or any tracking softwares to kind of restrict the number of websites they can visit, the type of website, and only give the access to the specific apps and websites that they are supposed to use for. Especially in our case, probably during the learning of AI, we will need only maximum one or two websites that we will be actually using on a day-to-day basis. So we can just enable those two websites and disable the remaining all websites, and that could be a good starting point.
Great, great, great. Hey,
Yeah.
again, thank you so much for answering all the questions patiently. So, if I
Thank
would
you.
ask for a one closing message for all the viewers, so what would it be from your side?
One closing message. I think seriously, like an year ago, I was still doing AI, been in this world for the last 4 5 years at least. But in the last 1 year, before last 1 year, I had a different view of artificial intelligence. But in the last 1 year, my perception has completely changed. I was in the imagination that AI is really great. It can solve a lot of problems, but the ability to solve it, but AI has always been nuanced. It has never been so widely available, like anybody will be able to make use of it. But suddenly with things like GPT and all of these tools, like it has had a really like a cascading effect on the whole industry. And that rumblings are still felt, like it will take time for everything to settle down. And in this trend is only going to continue. So probably like uh, it's really going to be like super super exciting, and I am really excited to see what more can be done with AI and how can I be part of it. And it's all about thinking in a creative way and all of that stuff. So it has really helped me a lot. So I'm sure, like if anybody is like self motivated and want to do something on their own today with AI, they can right after this session just go and do whatever they want. Like they just need to be clear ki uska target kya hai, and they are able to materialize that. And so that's to me really very exciting. I think we are in a very very exciting times. And I wish all of us take like the best benefit of these tools and these learnings, and achieve something really very big in our respective careers.
Yep, yep, yep. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Anand. See,
Thank you.
one, yep. So one thing that I would also love to tell all the parents and students, because I've been the principal of Gatik since its inception. See, one thing is when we try to get into the tier one colleges, tier two colleges, especially across all India level, apart from the subject attribute of the student, which is undoubtedly very important, the student should also be very good at their communication and fundamentals in which they are going to prepare for their future. So, if you know that the child is gonna settle down in the field of artificial intelligence, that is gonna be your go-to option, then I encourage parents to motivate your children to learn artificial intelligence at the earliest possible, because it would surely equip them with the essential skills for the future and would also start opening doors to their exciting career opportunities. Right. So, with this, we call it a day for the first webinar series of Saturdays with Gatik. So keep joining us on every Saturday to know these advancements in various career patterns. And next week, we will come back to you again with advancements in design as a career option. Right. Till then, we wish you all a great happiness and success with all your families. Thank you so much, Anand, for being part of
Thank
this
you.
webinar series today. It's
Thank you.
nice associating with you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, last but not the least, if you guys, the parents and the teachers and the community, whichever sees this video, has any queries or any questions related to the career options, do call our counselors team. You have the number being displayed in the bottom of this particular comment section or in the description section. So you can always contact our team, and our team will be more than happy to help you come to a conclusion if you're at a crossroads on taking right decision for your child after 10th. With all this, we'll call it a day. Namaste.